Hi, Doug. The market has risen continuously since August, both here in Australia and overseas. Is it a good time to be buying shares?
I'm still quite cautious, Andy, insofar that whilst the reporting season has indicated quite some spectacular profits in terms of percentage increases, it depends on how far back you go for comparisons. There's no doubt that in the resource area, because of the commodity price increases over the last 12 months, we've had some spectacular results there. People do tend to forget, though, that things such as iron ore are some of the most common minerals on Earth. Whilst there is a reasonable lead time to go into them of a few years, that lead time is quickly catching up, and so maybe whilst BHP and Rio have done extremely well now with their record profits, etc., there is still concern, I think, that maybe the competition from some of these other, whether it's South America or Africa, etc., in terms of the iron ore producers, could actually catch up. And whilst there's been some cautious optimism from Marius Coppers in terms of BHP, I think it's very significant that he was fairly cautious in his comments, and the euphoria that surrounds the BHP result, I'm sure they're aware of the fact that that may not continue at the exponential rate that it has been going, and there are quite a few commentators who are suggesting that particularly the iron ore situation could come into oversupply in the not too distant future, and the magnificent prices that have been received at the moment could drop off quite considerably over the next 12 months.
Maybe that's what's keeping the prices higher. We've been through this a couple of years ago. Look, I've made a quick comparison between BHP and Rio. There's a lot of debate which one is better to hold. We can look at the last 10 years, and total return to shareholders with BHP is around the 20% mark. That includes the overall price and also the dividend. And Rio is at 16%. Now, that's still pretty good compared to, say, our Aussie banks. Commonwealth Bank leading the way, and the total return for shareholders over the last decade is around the 12% mark. So really, as you say, the resources have been running really hard, strong and hard. How long do you think they can continue?
Yeah, I think that's the very significant point, and up until this point there's no question that the resources has been the place to be, but I do feel that for various reasons, because of the strong increase in the commodity prices, and it's not just iron ore, it's been coal, etc., right across the board, that many of these resource stocks do run the risk of running out of steam. I've got no doubt that China and India, etc., will continue to be large consumers of these products, but whether they actually continue to purchase them directly from the Australian producers or start to spread around the world is one of the more significant things that needs to be considered. So I'm not nearly as positive on the upward movement that's been occurring in the resource stocks, and I think that perhaps, as part of the whole revenue base that the government has put in place in terms of their resource area, it may turn out to not be as attractive as they were hoping for.
So, Doug, the market being cyclical, would you look at, say, bank shares, which has been reasonably flat over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think if you look at it depends on what the particular investor wants, but from a dividend point of view, probably from a safety, steady point of view, and because of the government involvement in protection of our banking system, etc., underwritten by, of course, us as taxpayers, then the banking sector would appear to offer pretty attractive investments of a steadier nature and higher dividends, fully franked over the forthcoming period. Whereas I think the point that you raise about the resources area being cyclical, and the fact of this transfer to other producers around the world could be of significance to the resource area, particularly in the next 12 months to couple of years.